Hello, everyone. My name is Manny Rodriguez, Christian's uncle, friend of a few out here. Some I don't know, some I do know. But they asked me to do the eulogy, and I thought about it when they first asked me. I thought, I only done one. That was my father was right here, 2013. And I saw a lot of familiar faces, family, friends, and cousins, and I knew relationships. It bothered me that some people who knew each other weren't talking to each other. And it reminds me of that again here today, right now, is that when you look around, you see things, you're just looking. And I walked up here, you saw me take a drink of this. You might look at the bottle and say, what's he doing? Is he drinking shots of tequila? It wasn't. As I walked in, Edgemar saw me pouring it outside. But I did it purposely to try to get you guys to think that those that know me know I would never do that. And those that do, it's kind of like true to my form. I like to give people ways of seeing and thinking in different ways. So I wrote a few things down. I was given some things to say before I start. I'll try to make it short and sweet, but some things require time to be said. So, Christian Kahze was born December 27th, 1991. 35 years young. I'm 63. We all have an age that we've been around, but what do we know about the life we're living? We're just blazing through it. Not even hardly looking up from our screens. We're just, looking up, seeing if we don't bump into something, fall off an edge, and we go on with our life. And I think that's kind of a tragedy because, as Father mentioned, there's people who are fighting for their life in a variety of ways. And all of us are going to die. There's no way around that. But what happens after death is where things really transform. If you've seen anything like a tadpole or a caterpillar, you see it as they are when you look at it. But if you watch its journey through its progression, it transforms into something other than what you see it as. And I think all of us here will one day just realize that this time here is just a time that we're learning to be better human beings, seeing each other, knowing each other, and embracing the life that God gave us to make the most of it. Show compassion, sympathy, empathy, and love, most important. Let me get through this. So Christian, 35 years, God rest his soul. His mother, Monica, don't know how young she was, but she was too young to die. But maybe she's alive now. Some of you might question it. I believe she is, as my father and all the loved ones who left us already. We're going to see each other again one day, and it'll be like there's been no time gone by. That I believe. So Tony Rodriguez is my brother, who raised Christian since he was 8 months old, to the present day. And Tony was with Christian the Sunday morning, and I called Christian to talk to him about some things, because I always tried to encourage him and enlighten him on getting rid of the darkness that exists for all of us. Because if you don't have someone you can console and trust is going to give you some words of wisdom and guidance, then you're just walking in the dark a lot of times, just hoping the next step isn't on something that's going to cause you pain or suffering. So Tony, all this whole life, gave everything as a father should do to a child or a loved one. Is whenever there's a need, you don't say, where are you? Or you don't say, when do you want me to come over? You come over right then and there. And Tony was there. So he was also raised by Summers, Paz, Rodriguez, and Christian. He graduated from Tularosa in 2010. He worked at the end of the Mountain Gods, and he got a degree in nursing. His siblings are Iris, Vivian, Dakota, Journey, Anthony, and Demetrius Peaches. Christian loved all his family and grandparents and his siblings and cousins and friends, and he loved you all. So now, thank you for that. I'm going to try to get through this eulogy that I thought of that I wanted to say. The first thing was taking the shot. I wanted you all to see that whenever you look at see something, you can in your mind say, what is that? And we all thought it was alcohol, but it was not, it was water. And as we look at everybody, we see us as we see them, tall, short, fat, skinny, whatever you might think, they're still people. and they have feelings. So just acknowledge, whatever people are going through, that they're probably not going to tell you, hey, I've got some problems. But if you look into their soul and you listen to your heart, everybody needs a word to share with someone. So I just imagine you guys all thought that I took a shot at tequila, and I'm going to read this. You made a quick judgment and you based entirely what your eyes saw, but you didn't know that before I walked in, I poured it out and it was water. What we see and what we instantly think may not be truly as it is. You cannot judge a book by its cover, and it brings me to my nephew Christian. In scriptures, Jesus warns us of terrifying truth when he says, I never knew you. He was talking about people who went through the motions on the outside, but their inner hearts were completely disconnected. We do that to each other all the time, to people we think of and we often don't really know because we hide behind masks. We rarely show our true inner selves to strangers, and tragically, we often hide them from our own loved ones. We masquerade the perfect cover on the outside, but truth cannot be guessed from a distance. To be known, truth has to be intentionally revealed or gently discovered. We have to peel back the layers as heavy rain washes away the soil to reveal what's below the surface. The seeds. The seeds all need the soil to grow, and we all need each other to grow. So imagine, if I were to walk up here with 2 glasses of water, one being looking like water, and the other one looking clear like water. If you didn't see what I poured into that glass, you would think whatever you would think. And that's why I did that. But that's the same thing with life. When you pour things into your thoughts, you get exposed to all these things that come through these devices. And you're listening to people tell you this and telling you that. You don't even know what to believe because you're trusting other people's advice without trusting our Lord and Savior's words. To know Him, to get a relationship with Him. So you're relating to things kind of in a distorted way. So the cups of water was an example of, whatever you're going to put down your throat and drink, you want to know what's in that liquid before you consume it. Stuff like this, they call it alcohol, spirits. Spirits is a good term for it because it kind of opens the door for bad things to come in that we really don't want to be there. So, Christian was a person who, like many of us, we all know, deal with these addictions. And we're not going to hide from the truth. But in order to address a problem, you have to first identify it. So let's be honest, and let's confront our fears and get rid of them. The only way the Lord can. Trust in Him and all things are possible. So he was raised with much love. He had wonderful grandparents, aunts and uncles and siblings and family. I'm sure some truly good friends that are here today and some that couldn't make it. But Christian carried a deep hidden trauma, a silent storm he simply wouldn't let us into. Beneath the surface, he carried a quiet ache, a feeling of abandonment. But I was fortunate. Christian and I would talk on the phone because we took the time I got to look past the contaminated water to discover his real heart. And one of our last calls, I told him that to give love, you must first know love within yourself. Christian looked past his cover and spoke of his true inner self and told me honestly, I don't love myself. And I remember thinking, whether that's the problem. To give love, you must know love. And if you're fortunate, you're here, look around, you see family and friends. We're here because we loved him and we cared about him. And we're here to support each other. Because these are dark times, but we'll get through it. So, Christian's cup was filled with thoughts of disconnect and pain, and they seeped deep into his consciousness and began to corrupt and corrode his thoughts. And when those thoughts breed in a person's mind, it becomes like a string of tangled knots. The confusion and the pain twist tighter and tighter. That is a knot that Christian was trying to untangle on his own, and unfortunately that internal battle ended in a devastating tragedy that left us all hurting and carrying a heavy vacancy in our hearts. And like Father said, it's going to take time. Not everybody says, oh, 2 months you're going to be okay. 2 years or 10 years, it's going to take time. To Christian siblings, grandparents, aunts, and uncles, and friends, the love you poured into his life was not a waste, and you did not fail him. Addiction that keeps people from showing their true selves. Please do not carry the burden of guilt. You loved him fiercely, and he knew it. And to anyone who silently knows that someone's fighting these same invisible monsters, right now, don't wait for them to ask for help. Reach out to them today and help them peel back their layers. Step past their cover and call them. Point them toward the love of Jesus, and because he is the only one who can untie those knots. That is a challenge. And Christian Kahze, for those of us who call ourselves Christians, we have the responsibility to one another. We cannot just know each other on the surface. We need to learn, love, and truly live, and give ourselves to forgive those who hurt us, and ask to be forgiven. This is how we begin to heal the vacancy in this room today. Christian, your water is clear once again. The trauma is gone, and every knot in your mind has been gently untied. Your true, beautiful soul is fully revealed, fully known, and running over with the perfect love of Jesus. Rest in peace, Christian Kahze.